Watch how this political storm explodes into a full-blown crisis, shaking the very foundations of power in Westminster. What started as a controversy has now turned into a defining moment for the Prime Minister as pressure mounts and trust begins to crack. With the Speaker stepping in and a crucial vote looming, the question on everyone's mind is simple. Has the line been crossed? This isn't just politics. This is accountability in real time. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Britain Daily. It's completely free and it helps us keep bringing you the hard-hitting stories that matter. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Before we come to questions, I wish to make a short statement. Numerous honourable and right honourable members from across the House have written to ask me to give precedence to a matter as an issue of privilege. One of those letters is from the Leader of the Opposition. The matter concerns the Prime Minister's answers to the House about the process for the appointment of Peter Mandelson and related issues. I think it will be helpful to the House if I explain my role in deciding whether a complaint should be put to the House. Privileged issues should only be brought to the House sparingly, and it is my duty to act as a gatekeeper to ensure that frivolous applications are not taken forward. As a gatekeeper, my role is to decide whether an honourable member has made a case which the House itself should be able to consider, not to decide whether someone is likely to have committed a contempt. If precedence is given, the member tables a motion for debate. At the end of the debate, the House itself takes a decision on whether the matter should be taken further. Some may be wondering why this issue is being looked at now. To be clear, I cannot determine whether an application is made. I have to consider any application when it comes to me. In this case, having taken advice, I have decided to allow the House to come to a view on whether the Committee of Privileges should look at the matter. It is not for me to make any decision or view. Therefore, the Leader of the Opposition will have the opportunity to put the matter to the House tomorrow. The debate will be taken after any urgent questions and statements or any 10-minute rule bill. We now come to
Whereas, Mr. Speaker, on the 5th of March at the dispatch box, the Prime Minister said these words: "We do recognise Cornish national minority status, not just the proud language, the history and the culture of Cornwall, but its bright future. Since then, I've repeatedly asked ministers for Cornwall's unique place on this island to be recognised through devolution. When the devolution bill comes back to the House next week, will the Prime Minister help me explicitly enshrine Cornish devolution and Cornish national minority status in that bill?"
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for his question? Of course, he has raised this issue with me on a number of occasions already. He's a great champion for Cornwall. We will ensure that Cornwall's national minority status is safeguarded in any future devolution arrangements. We have provided £500,000 to support distinctive Cornish culture, including the Cornish language.
So David.
The Prime Minister knows that last week 9 four-star generals made plain that yesterday's Northern Ireland bill is doing harm to the British Army already. Most acute damage is being felt with the Special Air Service. It's already affecting their recruitment, their retention, their morale and their operational effectiveness. As a result, lawyers acting for the SES Regimental Association have sent a letter before action to the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. I know of no precedent for this in the entire history of the British Army, and it's because it's so important. It reflects how important it is. So can I make a plea to the Prime Minister? Will he involve himself personally to make sure that 60, 70, 80-year-old soldiers who have carried out actions which most of us would view as heroic are not persecuted in the coming years? Because now it's a matter not of national security, but of national honour.
Can I thank him for his question and reassure him on the protections that he seeks for veterans, because it's a very important issue and he's continually and rightly raised it. There will be protection from repeat investigations, so the Commission doesn't go over old ground without compelling reasons. There will be protection from cold calling and protection in old age, so that elderly veterans are respected. And those who do contribute to the legacy process will have a right to anonymity, a right to stay at home to give evidence remotely, and a right to be heard through the Commission. That is the work that we're doing, and I'm happy to discuss it further with him.
To end on the subject, no doubt we can expect is Scotland's victory total correct.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When the Prime Minister next meets with the President of the United States, can he ask him if he knows any reasonably priced hotels near the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where the World Cup final is to be held? And as we are about to provide the biggest boost to whisky exports since our trade deal was signed, can he ask the Chancellor to gently consider excise duties next week so we Scots can continue celebrating at reasonable prices?
Prime Minister.
Thank you for his question. On the question of whisky, it is important we do everything we can to support whisky. I'm really pleased with the progress we're making with the United States and, of course, with India as well under the trade deal. I'll continue to discuss what more we can do with him.
That completes Prime Minister.
After weeks of chaos, this may be the lowest point yet for this government. A Prime Minister putting his own interests above the national interest. He has already had 4 Chiefs of Staff, 5 Directors of Communications, 3 Cabinet Secretaries and 4 Principal Private Secretaries. So does the Leader of the House not agree that perhaps the problem lies with the Prime Minister himself? On Tuesday, the Foreign Affairs Committee heard extraordinary evidence from Ollie Robbins, the former Permanent Secretary at the Foreign Office. He described a dismissive attitude in Downing Street towards vetting and constant pressure to appoint Peter Mandelson to the most senior diplomatic role. He also told MPs that he was asked to give the Prime Minister's then Director of Communications a senior diplomatic post without informing the Foreign Secretary, it would seem. Mr Speaker, the Foreign Office is not a redeployment pool for failed political advisers. So can the Leader of the House tell us, was it appropriate for Number 10 to apply such pressure over Mandelson's vetting, or does he accept that due process was not followed? Does he believe the Prime Minister inadvertently misled this House? Does the Leader accept the Prime Minister continues to make statements that are hard to reconcile with reality? Can the Leader explain why Ollie Robbins was sacked? And was it right and fair to sack Ollie Robbins? Mr Speaker, the Prime Minister has never looked weaker. The Prime Minister is so weak that he's brought forward the moment of prorogation to avoid another bruising Prime Minister's questions. He's also lost the confidence of the entire country. So when will Labour MPs finally stand up for their constituents and join us in removing this dreadful Prime Minister? While the Prime Minister is consumed by internal chaos, the issues that matter to our constituents are being ignored. Energy bills are soaring, particularly for those in rural communities relying on heating oil. People are struggling to find work. Decisions on funding our national defence are being delayed despite global threats. At the same time, government backbenchers and cabinet members brief against each other, plotting over the Prime Minister's future. As this parliamentary session draws to a close, I doubt it will be remembered fondly by those on the government benches.
The attacks on our Jewish community have become a national emergency. In recent weeks, we've seen multiple attacks against cultural sites and synagogues. The Jewish community has been targeted again and again. As a result, many Jewish people are now tragically considering leaving the UK. When the Shadow Home Secretary visited the community in Golders Green just after the attack on the Atzola ambulances, he was told they feel abandoned by the government. How much more Iranian action on our UK soil is needed before the government acts to prescribe the IRGC? In opposition, the Labour Party, including the then Shadow Home Secretary, now the Foreign Secretary, said they would do this, but almost 2 years after winning power, they've done nothing.
It is abhorrent that members of our Jewish community are considering that their long-term future in the United Kingdom. And collectively, I'm sure that we want to assure them that we will do everything that we possibly can to make sure that the United Kingdom is a safe place for them and their families. But I do recognise the fear and the distress that they are feeling at the moment, and that is why we're making sure that our response is proportionate and urgent in the way that I set out earlier in my remarks.
What you've just witnessed isn't just another heated exchange in the Commons. It's a moment that could redefine political accountability in the UK. When the Speaker allows a vote of this magnitude, it signals something deeper: concern, pressure, and a system being tested in front of the entire nation. For many watching at home, this goes beyond party lines. It's about trust. It's about whether those in power are held to the same standards they set for others. And that's why moments like this resonate so strongly. People see themselves in it: the frustration, the demand for answers, the feeling that someone, somewhere, must take responsibility. Whether you support him or oppose him, one thing is clear: the pressure isn't going away anytime soon.